I think my role with the board is I've been privileged in as much as the board has nominated me as chair of the board, and I do see that as a privileged position. And what I mean by that is that as a chair, it's my responsibility to lead the board, but the board's the one that's doing the leadership. And so for me, I am the catalyst, I suppose, to ensure that we get a full and robust board discussion and outcomes for the organisation. So it's about strengthening this, taking the strength, taking the commitment, taking, I suppose, the absolute resilience of the people around this table and in this organisation, and making sure we leave it in a better place than we started. Our board is a strong board, it's a diverse board, it's a board that's got a lot of talent and a lot of skill sets. We are a group of people who are clearly committed to the organisation's vision and its purpose. And that really means that we do live it. We don't just turn up for a meeting and open the books and have a look at it. It's something that in subcommittees, committees and at the board level, every board member would know what the other board member's talking about, or would understand the sort of areas of both opportunity and concern that may be being brought up. So that's pretty unique in a board, to get that level of integration of knowledge and integration of passion and commitment. We really looked at how we were going to drive the organisation from a strategic point of view. We are not an operational board, we are a strategic board. And so looking at what our key statements were going to be, what were our key achievements and outcomes that we wanted to achieve. And in order to do that, we looked at the structure of the board, the committee structures of the board, and so we have finance and audit, we have risk, and this year we've introduced, I guess, a revised committee. It's probably more accurate than a brand new one, which is really about corporate governance and strategy. And that's allowed us to really rethink how we do our business. I guess from a governance point of view, we've covered a lot of ground this year, which is very pleasing. Of course, the organisation itself has had some amazing achievements. We have an amazing staff group who I had the privilege of attending their staff development day this year for a short period of time, and you could feel the energy and you could feel the commitment in the room. So, so from our staff group to include our executive team and of course Ken Muchinga, our CEO, we have a very strong organisational platform to move forward. We've taken this year, I think, to substantiate the organisation, to get it, to move it from an organisation that has spent very, very, very little on its own systems and structures. And without being frivolous, we have and are investing in some of those things, such as IT, such as communication, such as looking at our staff development. Always done it, but really have put a stronger platform on it this year because of the things in the social policy space that are coming up. We really need to invest in all sides of the organisation. We've always invested in, I guess, the external, that is putting houses on the ground, putting sports on the ground, working with, you know, the other community sectors. We now need to spend a little bit more time investing in us. The Sydney Maya project, which has just recently been launched, is a great success. From a construction point of view, it looks fabulous, but more importantly, from a point of view of the model of both integrating the services and the housing support with a strong commitment from our tenants to make a difference in their lives. I mean, that's just one out of the box really, and something that I think not only are we looking at to evaluate as we go along in the next 2 or 3 years to see the difference and the impact on those people, on people's lives, but we know that others are looking at that too. So that strong integration of services, as the strong educational component, the support, the networking for our tenants and residents to actually start to make a difference to their lives. The recent Services Connect project, for instance, that the state government here in Victoria launched, and we are a lead in one of those and a strong partner in another. For us, North East Housing merger with Haven Home Safe is an ideal platform for us to really test out those models, because they are in fact embedded in our organisation already. And so what it has allowed us to do is with strong legitimacy take that to our other partners, and with our other partners, health, well-being, education, employment, etc., and look at how do we think about homelessness with a broad lens, not a lens that only considers a bed being the end of homelessness. We'll always be respectfully looking for government funding, because we do see governments has responsibility in this space of social housing and community housing, public housing, and the support services. But we can't sit back and wait. We won't. There is a need for us to think about what do the new models look like. How do we think about housing and homelessness into the future? So partnerships with business, with philanthropists, with I suppose developers, with our community indeed itself, are critical for us to think about what do new models of both funding, income and investment in our community look like. And as we just talked about before, the Sydney Mire project is a fantastic example of that in a reasonably large scale, with the state government there, with Sydney Mire there, with substantial contributions, and with families and in fact philanthropists right here in Bendigo providing an amazing $500,000 towards this project, and others such as Community Foundation, etc., etc. So they're critical to us, but so is business. We have to think about business and banking in a different way as well. I mean, we have very good relationships with the lenders and banks in Australia, and so we do have the privilege, I suppose, of being able to talk to them in a one-to-one basis, and banks that are considerate of the philosophy of Haven, which is about omitting homelessness. So to be able to do that in partnerships with banks and others and reinvest those dollars, obviously is a significant outcome. So the National Disability Insurance Scheme, which is rolling out now, and we know that, well, we've been told that in Bendigo in 2017 we will have NDIS rolling out. So really critical for us to think about what is our role, and I know we've already started that, and there are conversations and meetings happening, but it's it's a significant driver if you think about homelessness, and you think about the fact that often people who are homeless or at risk of being homeless have got a whole lot of other things that they're dealing with in their life, such as disability, mental health, long-term unemployment, etc., etc. We've got business as usual, we need to do that. We've got contracts that we need to continue to manage, we will need to do that and do that well, as we always have. But if we think about the lens beyond that, the integrated model's critical across the board, and in specific and priority areas such as NDIS, such as mental health, such as violence, or the whole area of domestic violence. We're already working in all of those fields. It feels like, without being, I guess, preposterous, government's catching up with the policies that they're now being delivered, or at least released, and let's hope delivered.